welcome to Planning Face Syndicate, episode 134. We've got new points, and we're going to be talking about them. We won't be list building tonight, folks, but we will be here having a conversation about some new points. We're also going to start our World's Prep series, where we have a conversation literally about each of the different factions and try to talk through, what you could expect, where you might see them, and things like that. To answer your question, we can call it new points because officially we got new points for Battle of Endor. With that being said, let's bring in my co-host for tonight. Please welcome the bench warmer himself, Mr. Alex. How are you tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. I actually did my taxes earlier today, so hopefully I'll be getting some nice money soon.
Hey, then you could buy some more X-Wing stuff, huh?
That or fix my car, but probably the X-Wing.
Did your car take a poop? I did not know that.
No, it just still doesn't have air conditioning.
Oh. Is your air pump bad, or?
I don't know.
Well, maybe if you bring your car to Worlds, we can fuck around with it. I've actually not a big car guy, but I have redone air as long as I don't have to weld new compressors in. That's like the one thing I'm not gonna do. But I actually have a kit that can test your AC for you. We can see if it bleeds, like where it bleeds out and stuff like that. So if you want to spend the time at Worlds,
yeah, I already had a buddy look at it. It's kind of all janky, so. But I will be driving to Worlds in my car, so it'll still be there anyways.
Fair enough. Also joining us tonight is Mr. JJ, the Lions fan himself. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. Celebrated my mom's birthday today, so we went out, had a very, very good meal at this Chinese place that I hadn't tried before, and yeah, excited for the new points. That was definitely a big surprise when that came out on Friday, and man, just been tinkering with lists.
Yeah, but I think some of the stuff, it was funny because Yasby updated pretty quickly, and some of the stuff I think is a little crazy because we don't technically know all of the upgrades, but yet they have some of the stuff in there for them. So yeah, little confused how we're going to do that until we get all of the information on some of the other pilots. But we are going to be able to kind of look at the different pilots and say, okay, do we really need a TIE fighter for 3 points? Like, what does it have to be to actually make it worth taking? Sapphire 2, for example, we have, I think, the text for Sapphire 2, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. So we could kind of make a judgment call, I think, on some of them, but not all of them. Hopefully your all's weekend has been fun and exciting. It's warm here in Michigan, weirdly enough. Like, it's kind of like what I would say the cross before the storm, or whatever you want to call it. Like, we have to be getting more snow. Like, it has to happen. But right now it was 50 today. I went outside and I was like, holy shit, it's actually nice out.
It's t-shirt weather.
Yeah. Like, I didn't wear my sweatshirt for the majority of the day. And, I almost put on shorts, Alex. How about that? I
didn't have a coat or anything. Yeah, no, I mean, used to this. This is fine weather.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's nice. I'm going to enjoy the weather while we have it. How about that? Like, it's not something I want to have 100 and 110 degree summer, but I will enjoy 50-degree weather in January for a little while. So I'm not complaining too much. I don't know. We didn't do much. We didn't really do much this week. We celebrated Christmas stuff over at my parents' house, and because everybody's been sick on and off. But other than that, we haven't really done a lot. I haven't played X-Wing this week outside of my game. I played one game on, I don't know, Wednesday, I think, against Cat, which is a pretty good game for our league. And oh, by the way, Alex, if you want to sign up for the league, signups are going to be going up for 312 League here in the next couple of weeks. So this is the last week of official stuff, and then we will have playoffs. And I don't know how many teams are in the playoffs, but I think there's like 8 or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. JJ, is your team in the running for playoffs?
Yeah, our team is definitely in the running for playoffs. It's going to come down to this week.
Good. So hopefully, who are you guys playing against?
I will have to take a look here. We are playing against the Seven Suns
Uh,
for this last week here.
Well, either which way, if you don't know anything about 3-1-2 League, it's kind of a fun 3-person league. We don't know if they're going to change the format up or not, but hopefully they will change a little bit and either randomize the teams, or we're going to have to get together and maybe build a planning phase team here, since there is 3 of us. So, and for the most part, we all play different factions. So,
yeah,
I think that works out pretty well. I don't know. Do we have any other announcements? I don't think there's many announcements today, is there? We just really jump into points. I think that's kind of where we're going. Is just let's get into the points. So AMG released some tweaks, is what we're gonna call it, and Battle of Endor points. So they did not overhaul CIS or Scum, unfortunately. They've kind of left us where we're at, but they did make some tweaks to some of the other pilots, and that actually might give some credence to some of these other factions that need a little bit more help, like Scum and CIS. So let's go through points first, boys, and kind of see where we're at with points.
All right.
We're going to start with Resistance, I think. I think Resistance is probably the one change that I thought was a little weird. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I was, especially that Lulo change, I was a little concerned why Lulo lost 2 loadout points. But essentially here we have Zori going down 2 points, right? 2 points down to 9 from 11. And Lulo went down from 12 to 10. And Jess was Jess at 9?
I think it was 1 point. I think she was at 7.
Was she at 7?
Yeah.
Because she can still run R2D2, can't she? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how much it changes, like, killing her loadout by 1. So I don't know. Alex, what do you think about that? That the Jess one seemed a little strange to me.
My assumption for all 3 of these, well, I guess Zori less so. For Lulo and Jess, I assume it's because they wanted to stop like every single one of your ships having Ferrosphere. It's the only thing I could think of, right? Because like Jess, with 7 points, you could do like BB Astro and Ferrosphere. And Lulo was like shield upgrade Ferrosphere. So that is my assumption, that they just wanted to get rid of like mass Ferrosphere things. Because I'm not sure what else like Jess was running. I mean, you can't take Baffle and M9G8 anymore. Not sure if they're looking into that, but not a lot of people really used Baffle too much. It was mostly just like, cool, I have extra points kind of thing. Maybe they were thinking Lulo was too good with Shield Upgrade Predator. That seems a little bit less cohesive than just like stopping a Ferrosphere spam.
Yeah.
And Zori, my assumption is also they didn't want like a double munition kind of thing. Like some people are running like Plasma Torp Mag Pulse. Maybe they thought that was a little bit too weird. So, or they thought Dorsal was too strong with that loadout as well. Or maybe she shouldn't get R4 if you're going to have Dorsal. That's basically what it turns out. You either get R4 or you get Dorsal.
So wait, Dorsal is 2 points, R4 is 2 points, and then you still have 5 points left for Plasma, right?
Well, you need the wartime loadout for 2.
Oh, wartime loadout. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, like it does force you to make a decision on whether or not you're going to carry the Dorsal or the R4 Astromech and the wartime loadout. So I think that's a fair enough change. I think they're just trying to probably just balance the power of these particular ships without really affecting the other ones that are out. I would say probably a little more common.
I'm going to say
Elo and Temin.
Yeah, I want to say, despite playing Lulo a lot, that every change that AMG did, like the tweaks, I like. I think they're all pretty fair, and I it sucks that Scum and Separatists didn't get any buffs, but it's nice that they're just like, well, Worlds is in like a month and a half, right? So maybe let's not up some loadout just in case something catastrophic happens and there's something that he didn't catch or something. So I could see why they would take like a really super safe approach to that.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, and I don't, like I said, I mean, I think, it would have been nice if they had adjusted some of the other issues beforehand, but it is nice to see, we're going to see in a few minutes, we're going to see Han. There's a decision making point for Han. Some of the bombers, they've kind of said, well, hold on a second. Like, it's kind of crazy what you can do with bombers. But I don't know. The Zori one, I guess I can understand, because Zori, once you add that wartime loadout in there, you get all that extra health, and it can become like a massive health sink. Though I don't know. Like when I shoot Zori, usually Zori dies.
Yeah,
So
I've pretty
like
much always killed Zori in 2 rounds.
you know, um, I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. So I don't know. Like to me, whatever I guess was Zori. The Lulo one, I don't like. I'll be honest with you, I do not like that change, and I don't think that was a necessary change. But again, maybe there's something we don't know about Lulo. I guess before. I mean, who was running Ferris for Pain on Lulo? Like
Standing.
okay,
Yeah.
Staniszewski, but he's the only one. Like outside of that, nobody
It was
was
a
really
pretty
running
popular loadout for Lulo. Mostly because, I don't know, people don't like Predator. They don't like line up the bullseye, or they don't like flying Lulo in the way where they're pointing at people. So it was a pretty popular upgrade.
But you could still take Ferrosphere on there, correct?
Not with shield upgrade.
Yeah,
Okay.
you only have enough points for heroic and shield upgrade at this point now with
Or like
Lulo.
Mag Pulse and like Deadeye or something,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Ferrosphere, it did pretty well. I mean, I guess you could do Starbird, but Starbird's a little bit iffy.
Yeah. Especially because if you go over top of your ships.
Yeah.
All right. Well, either which way, that's kind of where they did. I don't think it was a big hit Resistance took personally. So just my opinion. I think Resistance is. I don't think this knocks Resistance down that much personally. So
I mean, it's nice that they like now you don't have Ferrosphere on Jespava, right? Because you should be shooting by Jespava.
yeah.
Yeah,
That should
exactly.
be like your first target. So it's nice that you can shoot her with like ordnance and not be stressed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I love Lulo. Like I play a lot of Lulo. I'm not super thrilled that now I don't have Predator, but I get it. I'm not. And Zori's like whatever. I don't.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
that
don't have R4 anymore.
yeah, and it just tempers Jess's power level a lot, especially when she was running, the R2D2. Just having those additional charges to trigger her ability. She can still use the BB Astromex for those charges for her abilities. Makes her less efficient, but still, you can add on.
Oh, you could still do R2D2. R2D2 6 points.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's right. 6
yeah,
points.
yeah.
Right, right.
But you just don't get anything else with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't get jamming beam, I guess, just in case, my ATP.
Yeah, right. The premium upgrades on chess.
All right. Well, let's the next points change that we see is a Republic points change. That was Padme's loadout went down 2 points, right? 2 points, yeah.
Yep.
So now you just can't take the like super aggro passive proton torpedo build anymore because protons are 12 and passive is 5. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it brings it like and I'll be fair, like I think like some of me says you could just probably ban passive sensors. Like passive sensors is I don't know. Like it's a weird thing to point out because if you think about it, like it being the points level at 5 points, like that is a pretty hefty upgrade to take. And like only certain ships are going to want it because you don't get it till you activate, right? Or engage. And it's kind of like an I4 with it. If you didn't have an evade token with it, you're not going to be a happy ship. So if somebody
Yeah.
shoots at you,
Yeah. And if you're not in range of your Arc 170s that could pass off tokens to you defensively, yeah, it's gonna suck.
Yeah. And now you just have to acquire the lock like a normal person.
Yep, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. So to me, like they could have just gotten rid of passive sensors. I mean, but whatever. This is fine too. I don't care really which way it goes. No one else is running a bunch of passive sensors ships right now, so I don't think we have too much to worry about. I don't even know what can you take that's worth taking passive sensors on now.
I mean, there's always niche uses for it. Juno had it for a while too, just because you could boost off of it. It's not
Yeah, I
like a
mean,
typical upgrade.
the other thing you can do, right, is that you could just downgrade your proton torpedoes to do just plasma torpedoes instead, right? You know, it's much cheaper. You can still put in passive sensors if you want, or you can do like a combination of juke with that, to play more with her ability, be a little more aggressive that way, and still get off that plasma torpedo charge on there. So there are options that you can do it. You're just not going to get that big 4 dice shot anymore, in combination with everything else to it. So it does make you make a decision on how aggressive you want to be with your pad bang, and just build towards that at that point. Yeah.
Could always run Gavin. He's got the same loadout, but he has a mod slot, so you can take Sync Council and just get a target lock from someone else at I3, like Jag. Just do that. If you really want a Pro Torp Naboo with double mods, that you don't have to spend the lock because Gavin has an ability. But no one's going to do that, so.
Yeah, I don't know if that's better than Padme. I don't even know if Padme is really worth the points.
Padme was never really that good. It's just 4 points, and you get a Pro Torp out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I am excited that that you can't take the passive sensors Pro Torp anymore, because it's like I just don't like passive sensors. I guess like I just don't like it. I think it's a poorly designed card personally.
But now you could take your lock at lower initiative munition carriers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of us that live in other factions don't get that choice. Even Resistance doesn't have as much of that choice either. All right, let's move on to Empire. The first change is Faroff went down a loadout point.
No more Ruthless and 000. Now you just have 000.
Yeah. So I'm a little confused why we did that. Like, whatever, I guess. I don't think that was ever that broken, but
maybe they're just a little bit concerned with like the efficiency of getting essentially a free calculate and also a free hit. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, because go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was definitely the most puzzling of the changes, mainly because even in the list that did see Faroff, which is mainly like an accompaniment with like TIE bombers and stuff. I didn't see Faroff as being that one like really aggressive piece, or like a really good piece that's essential to the list. So it just felt weird to have that nerf on it. And yeah, Ruthless can be good to get that mod, right, that automatic hit damage there, but you're still damaging your own ships in order for you to do it. So it's not like it's a big plus, because you could potentially make your game end faster if you end up rolling really poorly on dice. So I mean, I guess it is what it is, but it was just a very, very odd choice out of all the ships on Empire to choose Faroff to reduce the loadout points by that, like that. So yeah,
I mean, it's just. I mean, I guess you do get it for free if like your ship dies and also you're the same initiative, like simultaneous fire kind of thing. But I think it was just hitting like that rack list, just like hitting just automatic conversions. Like Faroff's like an incredible piece. I mean, there's a reason why everyone switched over to Faroff from like Vault Scaris, right? It's just it, they live really long, just but getting free evades, especially in that rack list where you're stripping tokens. So I don't mind it. Faroff was a really, really good piece. Now you're just a really good piece.
Yeah, and I said you still have to bring Vader in the list, right, to get the 000, and like, I mean, I saw some people, like, I know there's other builds you can give to fair off, so maybe there was a build we just never were using because the 000 Vader combo was just too available. So maybe there was something we didn't know about. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but you never know. I did see the upgrade bar only has one um crew. I don't know if they had multiple crew before.
No, they didn't.
Well, they used to a long time ago, but not in the last point update.
Yeah, right now Vizier is the Vizier and Vermeil, I believe, are the only two that had the multiple carriers or the multiple crew slots. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not doing anything, obviously, a Vizier, right? A Vizier can be a menace with a free coordinate type shit, shenanigans. So, I don't know. You can still take Pelp. So, you don't live as long, I will tell you that. But you can have Pelp. You can coordinate and have Pelp. I don't. Anyway, moving on. The bombers were the next thing that kind of gets hit. In Empire, Gamma Squadron Ace going down some points. Don't know why.
That's the
I don't
most
think
surprising one.
no one ever took it. The only thing I can think of is it's a preventive measure. But they don't have a talent slot, so I mean, I don't know what they're preventing. Like, you still can't take, even before you couldn't take the barrage garbage with them. So I have no idea what you could do with them, like what they were worried about. But because they never had the double missile slot, from what I remember. I remember they were just like a bland, nobody cared thing.
They did have the missile slot. I think the biggest thing was just their cost and to include them in the squad. Majority of them were about 4 or 5 points, which, when you compare them with a lot of other chassis in the Empire, like the TIE Striker or the TIE Interceptor, for instance, you were getting just better. You were getting better efficiency out of those chassis versus the bombers. What really made the bombers popular is when they came down in points and they got an increased loadout value in order for them to carry both ordnance and bombs. And with this update, they still a very cheap, affordable option for you to carry ordnance on. You just got to make your decision whether or not you want to keep them at ordnance carriers with like barrage rockets or switch them down to cluster missiles.
You can't run barrage rockets on a Gamma Squadron. You never
could.
I
was talking about the named one. I'm sorry, not the Gammas, but yeah, you're right.
Okay, because like, to me that was I don't understand. I understand that piece, and I'll be honest with you, like, they kept Tomax, the standard loadout Tomax at 3 points, but build your own. They cut the loadout points for it, right? So now you can't run the barrage rocket garbage. They did that to Reimer too, but like, I mean, Reimer only cares so much, I think, because Reimer can just switch up what Reimer shoots, and you can run clusters, right? Feedback ping, and still a bomb. Can you still run a bomb? Or I think that fills it. I think it fills it. So you lose your bomb, is what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But is it really that bad? Because Reimer is 3 points, whereas like Lieutenant LeHughes is 4. And Lieutenant LeHughes runs, 6 health. And I guess you get the shields, but you can run barrage like marksmanship. I don't know. Like, Reimer's an I4 for a point less. You can still run barrage and marksmanship on them. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I think they just viewed like Sat Salvo as like an NPE, right? Which is why they just essentially made it so the bombers can't take both barrage and Sat Salvo. Although they could have just increased Sat Salvo by 1 point.
Yep.
Maybe. But maybe they were just kind of tired of just the bombers having barrage rockets and bombs.
And Sat Salvo. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, when the bombers first came out, like way early in 2.0 and all that kind of stuff, that like barrage rocket spam was a problem back then. So nothing changed except for now they have abilities. So Also worth noting that Jonas still kept all of his loadout. So like, I mean, he's a 4-point bomber, and but you can still take barrage rockets and Sat Salvo if you're really into that.
Yeah, and I think with Jonas with the rerolls, right? Like, I mean, you're getting a bigger benefit too for that extra point. So it's not all just. Yeah, I don't know. Jonas, I think, is still a very interesting piece for 4 points. So
yeah, agreed.
He's still easy to kill.
Yeah, he's still easy to kill, but if you're able to get more high level or high initiative pilots that can shoot ordnance there and have them in range, then Jonas does pay off quite a bit. Especially when you start factoring in other ships like the TIE Advance V1s or X1s rather that can carry missiles like Juno, for instance, or Marek Steel, or even Vader with his missile slot. If you decide to use that there. Just having that ability to have the ordnance to be re-rolled there, that could be pretty good. Eventually, down the line, when we get the Star Vipers, the Star Wings rather, that can carry torps and missiles, I'm sure that Jonas will play a bigger role in there to help provide the re-rolls for those ships. There is utility that for Jonas that can definitely help out later on. You just gotta play a lot more offensive minded. You want to take out your enemies more higher initiative ships in order for your Jonas to have a chance at staying alive for a longer time, or just keeping him out of the way, minimizing the amount of shots that go into Jonas.
Do we want to go over the battle over Endor points, or are we going to say that for after the tweaks they did?
We could go over them now. That's fine. We're already in Empire, and like it was really hard to try to like break them apart without making the dock like stupid, silly looking. So
because really, there's only like 4 ships that got tweaks.
Yes.
So.
Yep. I figured we can now start the battle over Endor stuff. Like I don't know what Scimitar 1 and Scimitar 3 if they even have loadout or any of that other stuff like set in the system yet. But they both those bombers came in at 4 points. So I don't know. Do we know anything about those bombers?
I don't believe so. Not
legally, no, but also I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Well, if you would like to talk about it, we are more than happy to have that.
If I knew, I would. I just I don't know anything about those.
Okay. Yeah, those from my understanding, we don't even know their initiatives. Nothing. Like we don't know anything about them. Like
I hope Scimitar's 1's initiative is like a 3, and Scimitar 3's initiative is a 1. I would love that.
I hate you if that's the case. I would hate that. That would be awful. That would be awful, Alex. Like
it would be so fun.
It would be such a dick move.
Something completely arbitrary like that. I like silly chaos like that.
Fair enough. So we know they're coming in at 4 points. We don't know what they have other than no escape. That's the only thing. That's the only upgrade I'm going to say is pretty much going to be guaranteed on those ships.
Yeah, and they're probably going to have bombs because they're movie ship bombers, right? So I'm sure they'll have bombs.
Yep, I'm kind of hoping they do something cool like they did with Deathfire. Give me some reason to can I make a squad with just bomber style bombs? Like not stupid little pincy bomblet generators. Like give me some real bombs, kind of like Deathfire has. Like let me throw a proton bomb at you. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping they do too. I agree with you. Like it would be nice to not have to. I don't want the. Give me a bunch of missile type things. Just give me some bombers that are bombers. Let me come in at range 1, but at 4 points, I'll be honest with you, at 4 points, they really got to be better than Reimer. I don't know if we're gonna get that or not. So
might also have more health because they'll do that occasionally, with these things. So maybe you'll have an 8 health bomber that's 4 points. That might be interesting.
Well, that would probably be worth it too. That extra 2 health on that bomber makes it so you can't one round that bomber as easy.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's move on to the defenders. We got 2 defenders. We got a 6-point defender, baby. I can now run triple defender. Just throwing that out there. For anybody at my locals who listens to the show, there's a good chance that Tanner might throw 2 more defenders in his case today, and possibly run a 3 defender list on Monday.
So,
Okay,
guess which one of the 3 crew didn't play 1.0?
Me. It was me.
Okay, so let's have a serious conversation about triple defenders, right? Like we know we see this new one that came out, Captain Yor being that 6-point defender there. Your initial reaction, guys, for this so far, does a triple defender list seem like it could be the next boogeyman for X-Wing, or is it more like yeah, they're cool and all, but what can they really do?
Boogeyman, no, but I could still see it being like a pretty like quality niche list if you're good at defenders, kind of like how like Cody has his triple silencer kind of list. Like in the right hands, I feel like it could be pretty good. But I don't think it's gonna be like terrorizing things. I hope it doesn't start terrorizing things.
I mean, I kind of hope it does. Like, come on, AMG, give me some defenders that piss everybody else off.
I mean, I assume also that the defenders would just be like Rexler and Jendon, right? Like you're not doing like Rexler Vault.
No. Well, okay, and think about it this way: both Yor and Jendon both have to spend shield, so you have to. It's like a ruthless.
If you want,
if you want, sure, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really want that extra firepower, then you almost kind of have to do something like that, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel they're going to be a boogeyman personally. I feel that is going to be in one of those lists that's annoying to deal with. But you're only getting one I6, right? You're getting an I4, and then you're getting an I5. So I don't know. Like I don't think it's you're not going to be able to pick up crates with them as easily. You're going to really struggle with that.
They're not great at assault either.
Yep, they're not going to be. Yeah, there's something there, and they're highly predictable, stupid ships to some extent.
I mean, you could still one bank evade,
Yeah, I was gonna say, Yor is gonna be less predictable than the other ones because obviously the other ones want to get that free evade, but without that free evade, there's no reason for the defender to have to go fast all the time.
Well, they get a free lock instead of a free evade.
Right, sure, but like at the same time, right? It's like you can simply take a focus as well. If you're worried about getting blocked, and if you're trying to set yourself for a prime shot, I would prefer to just take the focus and try to get a shot off that way, even if it's single modded, versus like trying to put myself in a spot where I'm going to get blocked. So there's a little less predictability that way with Yor.
I guess. I mean, he does have an ion cannon too, so you can kind of control where you are. So that's a little bit terrifying. To like ion cannon you like perpendicular and then like 4K to the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're at 6 points. I don't know. Like, I think it's fine. I don't think it's like broken or anything. And I think that if you're looking for like, are you going to take Yor over Vader Defender? Like, I think that's really, or not Vader Defender, Vader SSP Vader or Boy Vader. Are you going to take? Would you rather have an I4 Defender or that? So I don't know. Like, I do think the target lock evade is kind of cool. Like, you don't think they're going to give us some weird ruling that the Chiss engineering action is the only action you're allowed to take, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't think we're going to see that ruling. Do you?
No.
Yeah.
Like, it would say that like on the card, right?
Well, this is AMG we're talking about, so just saying, like, we gotta be careful. I don't think. Long story short is I don't think 3 defenders is really gonna be that. I will say I've done a little bit of testing with Jendon, and Jendon's pretty totes. Like, even at 7 points, like, I would have rather have him come in at 6 points, but at 7 points, Jendon. You like, because you, like you said, you don't have, you just have to be able to do You have to play it like an expensive Naboo fighter to some extent, right?
Yeah.
You know, I will say it's weird that they didn't like fix the 4K thing, right? Like that was what people complained about. Is like, oh, I can 4K and blah 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 blah.
And had to print out new dials and everything.
I know. Well, you could just leave the 4K and just say the 3 to 5. It could just be a speed 3 maneuver, right? You could just have changed the chess engineering to be a speed 3 maneuver, and you kind of fix that 4K thing.
Or I guess you could do basic maneuver too if they wanted to get rid of the K turn.
Mm-hmm. There you go. You could do that too. That would even be, better. So I don't know. I won't lie and tell you that I'm excited to play Defenders again. Like I was the unlucky guy that didn't get to play 3 Defenders in 1.0.
You say unlucky.
I didn't get to play Defenders. Like they're the coolest. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just my Thrawn bias here, but they were like the coolest ship in my opinion ever. Like, and it's probably because of Thrawn, but that like I don't know. I've always been in love with Thrawn, and like I've always liked the Defender. And people like there's a guy in our locals that literally has like said he will not fly against it. I don't know. We'll see if Matt shows up because I told Matt to be prepared because I want to fly 3 Defenders. But I'll be honest, I played Vader Defender the other day, like testing or playing around with it, and like Vader Defender is still pretty good for the points. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it just requires a little bit different flying, right? You're going to be a lot more careful with your defenders. You're trying to prioritize not putting your defender in, and I'm speaking specifically for Jendon, right? You're trying to really make sure that you're not putting him in too many arcs, right? Because even though defenders have, 7 health, between 3 shields and 4 hull, he's not getting that free evade anymore. They are vulnerable to blanking out, and honestly, this version of the defender, can essentially blank out in a really bad spot. If you, let's say somebody rolls 4 hits and a crit on a proton torpedo shot against Jendon and he blanks out, all of a sudden you've lost all your shields and you're relying just on your hull. So it's you have to be a lot more careful for it. It's not something that you could just bully your way through it. I mean, sure, you are going to get an I6 shot at somebody, and you can definitely do some damage with him. But if you're not eliminating shit constantly with him every turn, your defender is going to die really fast. So.
How about this? You should all be happy that Soontir came in at 5 points because if Jendon came in at 7, because if Jendon had been 6 and Soontir at 5, that leaves me enough to run Vader, Defender, Jendon, and Soontir, and that would be the list I would run just because I could. Like, I don't give a shit if it's good or not. I don't care. Like, it'd just be 666. I'd have my 666s, and I'd have my Vader Defender back again, baby.
Yep.
I mean, you could do it for 19 points if you really want to run Scenery.
Nope. No, I don't. I don't want to run Scenery. I want to run. I do not want to do that.
Scenery gets no respect. I
had a local who ran Scenery a lot with Soontir, but
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to off the Defenders. I think we'll have more discussion pieces when we get some testing in. I will say the Defenders are probably the easiest thing to test because we know exactly what they have, right? Like those are the ones that they have spoiled, so we know what's on them. So if you want to spend some time testing them, you can for World. Interceptors, we have 3 new interceptors. We have Moss, Monorare,
Monair. Yeah, Monair.
I don't like that name.
I feel like it's a mouse, right? Because that's a very famous German book.
Yeah, right.
Book. And how you say mouse in German. So it's like I want to do that, but like the last name sounds French, so it's really awkward.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So then we have Sapphire 2 and then Soontir fell. Now, let's talk about Soontir for less because like we have Sapphire 2, which isn't that the new I1?
Yes, the I1 that while you defend when you're focused, you roll additional die.
Yeah.
Defensive die though only, right? It's not offensive, right? Or is it?
Right. No, it's when you defend. If you're focused, you roll an additional die.
Yeah.
And also, like, you could do red, and when you do a red boost and roll, you can use the 1 heart template. On a hit crit, though, you get a stress.
Yes, it's like the reckless title or whatever.
Yeah, it's like built-in crew Sienna-y.
Yeah.
Close, because it's the 1 heart template instead of rotating. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was a fairly decent ability. Now, Mouse, if I remember correctly, that's the one that gets the free evade, right?
I didn't know we've
No,
seen that one.
I think you're thinking of. Oh, no, Mouse. No, that's the free calculate. When you take the
Recalculate,
evade,
that's
you
right.
get a calculate token.
That's right.
Do
That's
an
right.
evade action, you get a calculate token.
Yeah.
And they have 1 shield, and that's all we know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think coming at I5, I really am curious to see what else is going to be loaded out on Mouse to see what's going to make it justify that 5-point cost there. I
Right.
mean, just to put in perspective, it's the same cost as Iden, right? The Iden TIE Defender, or sorry, the Iden TIE Interceptor for the Empire that came in the Battle Yavin pack there. So I wonder if it's going to be a really, really strong ability for what Mouse has loaded on there. So yeah.
So I have a weird question, I guess. And I hate asking this question, but I have a weird question. Like, do you think that they're pricing some of these based on the scenario and not actually they don't really care about us who play it competitively? They're like, here, we know in our scenario if it's 4 points it will be a menace, so therefore it's 5. And in reality, in like non-scenario play, it probably doesn't need to be 5 points. I mean, it's an I3, isn't it? Or an I4, something like that. It's a low initiative.
It's a 3, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they're doing that mainly, honestly, because Iden in the Interceptor was like 6 points when she came out, right?
Yeah.
And that was
And
because she was really, really good in the scenario.
Yeah, and you also factor in the same things that they did with the Siege of Coruscant ships, right? The Arc 170s that originally came in, some of them came in at 5 points, and then of course all the Siege of Coruscants, like Tri Fighters and Vultures and stuff, they were higher costed as well when they first came out before they got a points adjustments afterwards. So I'd assume that just depending on how they do initially, they may see a point reduction later on. We'll see how soon that happens. Hopefully, not too far after Worlds. But just hoping we'll see how they do when they're introduced.
And then we have Soontir Fell not coming in at 4 points, baby, but coming in at 5 points. So didn't meet my expectations of a 4-point Soontir. That would have been amazing, but
Yeah, I mean, he's still really, really good for his ability, right? Still having the sunset of controls, still having the ability to boost a barrel after he takes an attack, still able to have multiple mods. This Suntir Fell is definitely a very, very viable option versus the standard or the customizable Suntir Fell that we have currently. He's definitely going to make a splash in the meta.
Yeah, I know some people are saying if they're the same points, they're still going to take customizable Soontir just because shield upgrade. And I can respect that, but standard loadout Soontir does seem like a really fun time.
I'm gonna call it right now. Duncan Howard is going to be the first one to win a Store Champ event with the Soontir Fell.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to get like old school Predator on him, like old school Reverse Predator. Just reroll an attack die, reroll more attack dice.
Yeah, it's weird. That's weird though, right? It is a little weird because like all you have to do is be not an I6 and you get to re-roll, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems pretty good.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and then just like a better false transponder codes, right? Because it's a May, so it's kind of cool. It's and then like a mini force on defense if you're not locked.
Yeah, I think the only thing that is going to be weird about it is that sensitive controls. But you got to think your ability no longer predicates you having the bullseye to get the extra thing. So do you care as much if you have sensitive controls?
Well, I still want to not get shot at. right? Now you just have to do it like after you attack instead of after you move. It's kind of weird. But I know like Paul Heaver was practicing like sensitive controls, interceptors and sensitive control like Kylo and stuff, and he does pretty well with it. And sensitive control is really nice too. Um, it can get you out of spaces or react to certain things, or if like they're dropping a bomb on you, you could just be like, no, barrel roll, help.
Yeah,
That's always fun.
and I think one of the big things, right, is his text does not say action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you, not that you're gonna be stressed, but you could be, right?
You could also be carrying a crate. You could also do it twice, right?
Yeah.
Barrel roll and then barrel roll after you perform an attack.
Wait, you can? I thought. Okay.
That's how Anakin works.
Yeah.
In the Naboo.
Ugh. Okay, that part I don't like, but yes, like I don't know. Soontir feels to me just pretty dirty. Like, I mean, especially if you get first player initiative, which is what, a 50-50 anyway. Like, you here, let me roll in. Like on the initial roll up, you're just gonna have so much better time. Like you're getting a free calculate on defense once around. So if you're only getting shot by one ship, I don't know. That's you don't even have to roll. You don't have to roll for it. It's
well, as long as you're
me.
not locked by that ship. But yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But you could jam on first engagement. So like if somebody does lock you, you can jam them. So like, okay, here's an I4 and an I5 coming in. This I4 locks you. I5 locks you. The I4, you can just go, fuck you. I'm gonna boost out of your way and never like be dealt with. Here's the I5. Boom. Let me jam you. Then let me shoot you. And then let me get the fuck out of the way. I don't know. Like,
no, it's super
dirty.
Super cool.
I mean, I will say it is. I very much like that they put in there, you cannot recover this charge. Because could you fucking imagine if you could be able to somehow figure out how to recover that charge? That would just be like awful. Like an like, here, I'm Soontir Fel. I'm going to jam you every time I can. Like, come on.
Like the reason why Java is so many points because he was able to recharge the FTCs. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Or Cutthroat. Thank God those things exist on Empire.
Yeah. So it's cool. Again, it's only a one reposition ace now, and you're not getting free focus, but you do get free rerolls. So that's cool. I don't think I would be able to fly this Soontir. It's just kind of not my style. But it's super cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually excited to. I would like to put that on the table and at least try it. Like, I don't think I'm like some super great ace player, but I really would like that Soontir feels very scummy CIS-ish, right? Like that's kind of what that feels like. That's a pretty scum-filled Soontir if I've ever seen one.
Just bring like, what is it? Tarkin. Just have everyone acquire the locks on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark One probe droids. There you go. If you're playing separatists.
Oh boy. All right, let's keep moving. So we have 3 new TIE fighters, right? Have we seen any of the stuff for them?
I have not seen anything
not at all
about any of these TIE fighters.
Yeah, these are totally unknown TIE fighters on there, but it's interesting that that 2 of them come at 3 points, which makes them competitive with pretty much all the other named TIE fighters are out there. And then we got 1 at 4 points, Major Mionda. Definitely interested to see what that particular TIE fighter is going to bring to make it on par for 4 points. So yeah, just hoping that we get some good abilities, something to switch out in my Mauler Mythal list.
Well, the question is, are you better than Dark Curse? Or are you better than Backstab?
Oh, yeah, that's a very good.
Like that. If it is not, like, just it's a garbage bin. But so we're gonna skip those. I'm just gonna move on because we don't know anything about them.
Literally nothing we can talk about.
Yeah,
right?
There's no point in like. Again, like, would you take this over Luria? I don't know. We don't know because we don't have any of the freaking information. So until we have it on this, we're gonna keep moving on. And that's why when we talk about like what is each of the different factions and what they could be capable of for Worlds. Like, we're gonna move Empire and Rebels till we know all of the new pilots.
Yeah.
Because that was the one thing I did not say is they officially announced this shit's going to be legal at Worlds. This is 100% legal for Worlds. Even if unless somehow this gets like super delayed, this is all legal for Worlds. So I will say I can hope that it is not like something that like people overseas can't get. And I will tell you what, if that's the case, if like it's an America thing where we can get it and like people overseas can't, but they want to run this stuff, message our podcast. If you let us know in advance, I will 100% go to all of my local stores and buy all the damn kits, and I won't even charge you guys. Like, I will charge you whatever I pay for it, but I will not upcharge you a damn thing. Like, if you guys cannot get it over in Europe and you want to run one of these, let me know. I could buy them. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, we can. I know a local of mine is setting up over there, so I can try to send a couple of packs over there too for people who don't get it overseas, and hopefully can meet at Worlds, and send you guys with a few packs over.
Yeah,
charge them an alt-art card, like a foreign language one. That'd be great.
Yep. Hey, and if you got a student tier card
Or
or
a
something,
sticker.
Or a sticker. I like sticker. Give me a sticker. All right, we're moving on to Rebel. So the most notable changes besides Han, which we'll get to in a minute, we're going to save Han for a few minutes. The most notable changes is Bodica and Fen lost the loadout. So you can no longer run the standard typical stuff that you would run on all of them, but I will say that even 7-point loadout on Bodica, I still think is okay. Like, I really don't think it's a big deal, personally.
Just don't get the Predator optics Beskar combo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You can still put on clan training if you want to, or you can still do like marksmanship or hopeful, and still be okay, right? And hopeful can actually be pretty nice on these fangs, especially if you're not stressed out. Just being able to have the option to go for like a boost to get into that range one if one of your friendlies dies can be very, very good. Assuming that you haven't boosted already in that turn. So
And
you
you're not
do
stressed.
have, and you're not stressed, yeah. So you do have quite a few options there for Bodica and for Fenrau as well.
Yeah, I mean Bodica. If you're still planning on taking Mando optics, it's going to be like Beskar optics, possibly clan training. Right, Fenrau is more like Beskar. Well, like you just can't do the Beskar optics crack shot, which is what a lot of people are doing. So now you just do like Predator, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you can do Predator, or if you really want your crack shot, you're dropping one of your other upgrades.
Yeah.
So, and I think the sad thing is you have to have Beskar on these things. Like, I think that is required over Mando optics. Like, I think Mando optics is nice, but I think if you really want that crack shot, whatever, go ahead and take that crack shot. But you really got to have that Beskar. That Beskar is way too good for its point value right now. Like, it's just really, really good on Fang fighters. I have cussed out more Fang fighters, Cat, and your stupid Fenrau not being able to take the crit I needed you to take. Like that's pretty good. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we move on to the B-Wings, which I don't think we know anything about the B-Wings, so we don't have to spend a lot of time. But I will say the B-Wings coming in at 5 is interesting. I think Braylon coming in at 4 feels like that's going to be the competitive piece. Overall, the 3 of them, though I won't lie and say that Gina coming in at 5, I don't think is like a horrible thing, because I bet you Gina's going to have some really cool shit. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what updates they're going to give to these B wings to make them really good. Mainly because the B wings don't see much play currently, just because of the other options that are a little more I would say, efficient for what they can do with their cost.
Straight up better in pretty much every way.
Yeah, exactly. But having a 4-point cost now, especially with Braylon Strom, hopefully he still has some semblance of his old ability. But I'm definitely really interested to see what they put on for the standard loadouts on these cards.
Yeah, Desi says they feel that there's probably a Obi Annie ability pairing. So, and I won't say that that's not cool, because I mean, Gina's always been kind of the stress person. Braylon loves stress. Like, you could do a lot with some of these pieces. I have no idea what Anon Fox is going to do. So I think we need to hold off before we get super excited, but I won't lie and say that I'm a little bit excited. Unless they all come in with Trajectory Simulator, then they can just go to the fucking scrap pile and I'm done with them. Like, I don't care. That was not a fun meta to play in.
Yeah, I got it banned. Don't worry, man. I got you, bro.
I didn't joust B-Wings, so, I didn't get bombs thrown at me.
All right. A-Wings, next one. So we got Keo losing 1 loadout point. So you can't take Prockets, Alex. You can't take Procket A Keo anymore. Sad day.
Can't do Concussion Lone Wolf. That's the important part.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, makes Juke a really easy option here, unless you're going to do like a 4-point missile on Lone Wolf, or just like Concussion and something else.
I mean, and you could do like a Predator type thing if you really wanted to. You could put Predator. You could do a crack shot thing still. But if you do crack shot, that's all you're taking. You're kind of giving up those 3 points. So I don't know. You could do a Predator. I don't know. I hate saying Magpults, but some of me wonders
like clusters or ion missiles.
Yeah.
Or thread tracers, I guess. I think those are all the 4-point ones.
Yeah.
I would not use thread tracers, but I don't believe in thread tracers.
Don't do thread tracers, but like ion missiles aren't a terrible choice. Cluster missiles aren't too bad either.
Yeah, I still think Magpulse is probably the way to go, right? Just having that utility piece for like salvage, to guarantee
you're
that
like an I3. That's the only thing you're getting.
Sure. I mean, granted, in majority of your lists that have Keo is a carrier, right? Keo is looking to just like, grab a crate and just stay away. But on those times where you do get a shot of opportunity, being able to take a target lock with someone and then set up a Magpulse shot for the following turn, does have this ability, especially if you're facing like an enemy Sabine or another enemy Keo, or some of those Black Squadron Aces that you see, some of those cheaper low initiative ships that are ordnance carriers. Keo at least has a weapon to help stop them from running away with points. So it does have some utility on there. It is still always going to be a shot of opportunity, but still having that option there is solid.
Yeah, I think the bigger question that's going to really come in here, like, I mean, to me, like, I hate Juke Keo. That's just me, though. Like, I just think it's an unfun thing to run. I think people like it, and I think it works very well, and that's fine. Like, but I was always the concussion missile lone wolf guy, right? That's how I ran it. That's how I felt better about it. But now we have a 3-point Gemmer, right? Like, do you think that? I mean, it's an I2, but the ability is pretty cool, right? Except for now you have vector cannons. So now you don't have, like, you have the pre-position, you don't have the reposition, so you lose that. I don't know, but like by the time you're shooting on offense, you can gain your strain to turn 2 blank results to an eyeball. We don't know what Gemmer's gonna have, but if it's got a missile, like, I don't know, that seems pretty good, right? Like,
Gemmer's got a cannon.
Is it a cannon that he has?
It's a talent, a cannon, and 2 mods.
Okay, so
that mysterious not proton cannon, but still also starts with a PR.
Is an I2 proton cannon?
It's not a proton cannon.
All right,
it has 1 cannon slot. Like
maybe it's a particle cannon. How about that? There we go. We're gonna call it a particle cannon.
Some precision cannon, I'm sure.
Party cannon.
It could be. It could be the precision ion cannon thing or something like that. I don't know. So how about this? do we think Gemmer is going to be a replacement for Kyo, or could be a replacement for Kyo?
I still think Kyo's a lot better. Just having evade and force, even if you're not using any of those, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. So that's really the only thing. Then we have Arvel and Tycho coming in, and we don't know Arvel yet, right? Like, I don't think Arvel's been spoiled.
I'm sure it's just smashing into things and blowing up, right?
Yeah, so I'm interested. I'm interested to see what it has. Like, it would be kind of cool, but I don't know. Like, and all these, like, I don't know, all of these. It's a trap, right? Like, it's a trap is good, except for it like tells you to swarm, and like, how many times are you, if you're the enemy, is going to give one ship away to like 4 rebel ships? Like, I don't know, like, or 3 rebel ships, or 2. I just don't know how effective it's a trap is going to be.
It's really good on the approach because they're not going to be by you, right? So anytime you're paired up and you're approaching someone, you just get free blank rerolls, free dedicate.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I would kill so hard for a free dedicate.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's not free. It's a 4-point ship now. So we have dedicated on 2-point ships. So, and it is still an A-wing. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what Arvel is. Arvel in the other one is if you fail the boost action and you're overlapping a ship, what happens? I can't remember.
Like, you can partially execute boost.
That's right. Okay.
And then you treat range 0 as range 1 when attacking.
Yeah. So, and nobody's using SSP Arvel right now.
No, that is
way overcosted.
A tremendous waste of points.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I think Tycho might be okay at 4 points. I mean, right now you could get Tycho with 14 loadout. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think this Tycho's a lot better.
Do you?
Okay. Rockets. Yeah. I mean, one, you have an extra health. So you have 3 shields. I mean, you don't get like any action to a boost, but you can shoot a rocket every turn, right? You just focus reload, which is super cool. And it's got chaff particles. While defending, you can spend a focus result to remove a red or orange token. So I wonder if a lot more A-Wings are going to have that. That'd be kind of cool if all of them just had that. Just be able to remove stress or something. Because they do have vector cannons, so removing the stress might be pretty useful.
Yeah, but how often are you doing the vector cannons and then doing a stressful maneuver? I don't know. And then, the whole point of vector cannons is to avoid the stress, right?
Right, but like if you are stressed, like you did like a focus link reload,
true,
or like a boost evade,
yeah,
you could do that and get juke, which is really silly too. You can then spend the result to remove the stress. So you get vector cannons next turn.
All right. Well, I guess fair enough. The Tycho actually might be a good running. Like, do you think Tycho could replace Boudica in list? Because that's kind of where the 4-point is. Like, is Tycho a decent? I mean, it's the same health except for you got shields now, and you get repositioned.
That's actually one more health because he's got an extra shield.
Oh, well, even better then. Like, that's actually okay. I did not know he had an extra shield. So then I guess I would say Tycho is probably a win-win. Win. Right,
yeah, I might actually fly Tycho because just shooting rockets is super cool.
Yeah, it's like this stupid Alpha Star Wing that can freaking take the disarm token and reload and shoot an APT every fucking turn. I hate that shit so much.
Well, roll up like 4 dice or whatever, but same thing with this, which is cool, and you get a lot of token sharing in Rebels, so you can still have like a focus lock or have like a focus lock juke actually all at once if you wanted to, because this juke is just performing an attack, so you could juke them off the procket.
Yeah, exactly.
If only there's a way you can get more tokens.
Well, there is. There's a guy named Lando. Lando's coming to town, baby. Lando's coming in at 7 points. And I skipped Han. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped Han. Han, lost loadout. Han is now 15 loadout, so you no longer can take Bistan Perceptive Copilot. Sad day for you. I still think you can still take Blaze and whatever, but like now, how about this?
Blaze. Awesome.
You can still Bistan Baze, but you don't get engine with it, which I like a lot. I appreciate that they did that too.
Yeah. So I think it's fine. Like I think you still take Han Solo to some extent. Han Solo's still good, but now it opens it up so you can talk about, do we want Leia? Do we want Lando? Like now Leia and Lando are actually part of the conversation, because Han is great for the rerolls, but people have very heavily teched against Han. And like, can you imagine Lando coming in and doing all the crazy, weird Lando shenanigans? And then, like now you've got a Tycho and a Lando together. Like, oh no, here you go. Like, here, Tycho, have a double modded 4 dice procket shot every fucking turn. Merry Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good to me.
Alternatively, if you really like the Perceptive Copilot Bistan shenanigans, you can do that with just normal customizable Lando.
Yep.
It's an I5, but you can also get an evade or a boost and double shot or a lock or help out your teammates. So
yeah.
If you're still into that play style, you go down to Lando to do the same thing.
Yep. The only thing you're losing is you just lose out on those re-rolls, right? But I think the difference is that your Lando is a lot more not predictable. So, like we know what Han's doing. We know Han wants to be by those rocks to get the re-rolls. So if you can corner and cage Han, like, I mean, that's why Rack became very popular, is because Rack can eat a Han alive. Like, it could just stop Han and say, screw you, you're done, I don't know. I'm excited. I know you're definitely excited, Alex, for Lando. Does this make you want to swerve outside of Resistance and genuinely look at running Rebel Lando?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of also depends on other stuff we're going to get in Battle Over Endor, obviously. But I do love Lando pretty much in every faction. He's always really good at getting a lot of double mods, and that's really good. So,
all right, last ones we have is X-Wings, which we don't know anything about Kendi, right? Like, at all. And I don't think we know anything about Yendor, right?
Right. Just the Wedge.
Yeah, all we know is Wedge.
Yeah. Who seems like a solid piece at 5.
Yeah, and so, okay, do you think Wedge rivals Luke Skywalker now?
I think you just take them both.
Yeah.
But I still think Luke's better, just because the Force is super good. And defensive, and he's still a proton torpedo.
Yeah.
But I like that Wedge. I mean, just do, Wedge, boy Luke, and Falcon plus 3-pointer of like Keo or Hull, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty straightforward list. Boy Luke, Bo Wedge, Han, doesn't really matter. Keo.
Honestly, I think in that list you do Lando. I think that's what you do. I don't think you do Han. I think Lando's the better call in that list.
But my I6.
Whatever. Lando, we did not bring Lando for I6. We brought Lando because Lando was a double tapping reroll motherfucker. That's why.
He can move at I6 twice a game if he wants.
That's true. That's true. You got that bait going for you. Or he can move at, let's see here. Oh, man.
He can't move at 0, so like null.
He can move at 0. He can move at 3.
Still gonna block him.
Yeah. Nobody runs null though, but move at I3. So I don't know. I agree with you. I actually think that Wedge is really good, like personally. Yeah. And I'm happy that we got rid of the let's reduce the stupid agility thing. Like, Separatists hates that. Yeah, like Separatists hate that, and like it's just not fun, and nobody likes that. And I'll tell you what, like, because it's not a may, is it? It's a must, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, essentially, yeah. They just roll less dice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if somebody forgets to tell them to roll less dice?
Yeah.
but it's a mandatory effect, right? It's just a game effect.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like, because it's a mandatory thing, it becomes a negative play experience a lot of the time because people like are like, oh, here you go. And like, you know how many times like I've seen people have to roll back churns because of something like that? Because that's the one you have to roll back a churn for. Like you can't just
To
keep
a certain
playing.
point, like there's some things you just don't roll back. That happened actually at the Eternal store champ. It was like a really weird, complex things of odd interactions that like spiraled out of control, and it's like you can't roll back the game state so far because like 3 ships are already dead, and you're just like, well, sucks.
I mean, it just goes back to the PSA, right? Like, take your time, don't speed through it, especially if it's a new list. If you're not really experienced with it, take your time. Make sure you go through every single interaction. And if you have any questions about it, about rules, if it's a tournament level event, ask your TO, ask your judge to clarify for you, just in case, just so you don't run into those negative situations where you kind of get sidelined. You get that new information out of nowhere and it becomes a negative play experience. So just be aware, right? This is something that we are going to see probably a lot more often now with this ability. And just don't be afraid to ask your opponent to take a look at the card, read it, ask any questions you don't understand, and try to get informed as best as you can.
So let's move on. I think we can come back to you guys don't have anything else for points. I mean,
No.
Like we could talk about them when we do our faction reviews, right? Like, I mean, like I think Lando becomes an actual discussion point, like over Han now. Like now you have a reason to look at something that's not Han. But I don't want to do that tonight because I don't really want to go through Rebels tonight because that's not going to be a fun. In my opinion, it won't be a fun endeavor until I know what those other X-wings are. I don't care as much about the A-wings. I care more, or even the B-wing. Like, I don't know. Am I going to take a Gina Moonsong over a Wedge? Nah, it's gonna be really hard to. If Gina had came in at 4 points and Aiden Fox had come in at 4 points, then I think like we have a different discussion on our hands. But for me, overall, stocks are a little like I'm excited for the B-wings for casual play, but not for competitive play. Just personally. Unless they have trajectory simulator, then I guess I'm all in and I'm just gonna go. I love throwing bombs at people and I hate that experience, and I think that's like the worst thing that you could do. But
if they get auto blasters, just take more band upgrades.
They get auto blasters. I don't know. I'd be tempted to run them if they have auto blasters. I'll be honest with you. Like I'm not against being the dirty person at Worlds. Just as an FYI, if you didn't know. So I probably will not be running CIS this year, unfortunately, because I don't know. It's sad. I'm sad about CIS. Let's move on and talk about our Worlds prep for our Academy 101 segment. For our Academy 101 segment, we will be talking about Scum and Villainy, and if we have time, we're going to go over CIS. So I don't 100%. This is new, right, to me, and like we've had some internal discussions on how we want to do this. Like I had originally kind of put together a document about, a couple of things, like what is the most popular thing you're going to face right now, right? What are the most popular pieces in the faction? What are the most important pieces in the faction? And then kind of what are the lists? So I don't know if we're going to be able to get to lists all the time or not. Like, and I don't know if it's honestly that valuable in Scum or CIS, to be perfectly frank with you, because I don't know how much of a contender all these lists are outside of maybe what I would call like a paradoxical style effect, like where somebody is like a genius at one of these lists, like Alex, for example, or, like I know Crispy Sister Pat, like Pat, or not Pat, God damn it, Kate has like 100% openly stated like there is a possibility to run Scum, right? Like it's Scum is not worthless. It's just you're on a little bit more of a try hard mode, and Alex likes try hard modes. If we're gonna be honest, like Alex likes to play on try hard mode. and he reduces it with the amount of alcohol he drinks in the day. So maybe it's not try hard mode for Alex at that point. So I don't know. So just so you guys, so we're gonna kind of freestyle this, right? Like let's just freestyle some of how this goes. I have it set up where we can kind of talk about different things, and then we can investigate the pilots, and let's see how this runs, because this will be how we do some of the other factions coming up here. So as you can see, what I did is I took the top 6 lists for the factions, right? You know, or we're going to say Scum, right? So originally, if you look at it, we have 2 Fangs, a Y-Wing, a Rogue, and obviously Bosk. Like, it's just Bosk. We know it's Bosk, you know? Like, it's not even a question. We obviously have at number 3 that comes in 4 Fangs and Bosk. I think that's probably very logical. We then have a Y-Wing, a Manaroo, probably a Manaroo because it's cheaper, a Dirge, a Bosk or an Afra, and then a Bosk. It's actually an Afra because it's a Bosk, which that's probably Alex's list right
That's
there.
my list, yeah.
Now that I think about it. That's probably just your list in the long run.
Is that a Dirge?
Yeah. Then we have 2 Fang Fighters and we have 2 Fang Fighters and a Fire Spray, which I did not know that many people ran
and Tarok.
Yep. So, but it exists. And I will say, like, there is also that possibility of the 2 Fire Sprays and the 1 Fang Fighter, right? Like that does exist as well. You just can't run Fen and Boba and another Fire Spray. So I think if you could, that would be kind of cool, right? Like, I don't know, maybe that would be.
I mean, you could do Iman and Calf Scarlet, for instance, and Fen.
Yeah. So then the other one we have is 2 Fangs, probably Bosk and Lee Mackay. I don't know, 100%. And then, you know, then you have the other variation of Alex's list with 2 Fangs in there and a M3A instead. So those are the top lists in terms of popularity that came up in Scum. Then we talked about, then I said, okay, well, what if I went into percentage, like win ratio, the different type of thing? We see a little bit difference in pilots, right? And in combinations. We see 2 rogues, which I don't remember seeing this list ever do well, but it did, I guess, obviously somewhere. 2 rogues, a Fang Fighter, and a 666. 2 rogues. I'm guessing that's Manaroo and Dengar along with that. And then we have the 3 Fangs, and instead of the 4th Fang, you combine the 4th Fang and Bosk either into Afra or Bosk, one of the 2, in the 666. And then we have this weird Lando variant, or maybe it's a Han variant. I don't know. I don't understand this list. That list never made any sense to me. But then what you can see is you do see the 2 Fire Sprays and the Fang Fighter in here. And that only 5 people have ran that list, but that does show up on a higher percentile for what that list is, right? So those are kind of, in my opinion, those are kind of where your base points are. And like then I say, well, what do we do from here? We got to talk about pilots, right? And like this is where we actually got to have a discussion, because like popularity versus like what wins. Sunny is not popular at all, but Sunny somehow shows up as one of the top pilots to run for win ratios, right? Like it just overall has a higher percentile. But that's weird, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess Sunny's good. I don't know.
Sunny did forever in my heart, but not good.
Okay.
Right.
But it does show up on a high, like it only has a 43.75% average of wins, but so it is still under 50%, but it's showing up on a higher percentile. I don't know why. So it's winning something. So it does win something, but as you
1.7% of lists.
Exactly. Yeah. The only 10 people have ever ran Sunny in tournaments this year, which seems crazy to me. Zach, where's your number of Sunnies that you ran? Oh, you didn't run any. Okay. That's sad. So obviously popularity wise, Fen and Bosk and then Lee Mackay. Which those make sense, right? Like that's kind of like Alex in your notes. That's kind of what you had. Is you had Fen Bosk, Lima, Cad Dirge, and those show up in popularity as the top ships, right? Are you surprised to see the old Tarak, Cad, and Joy show up?
No, people love their Fang fighters, and people love their high initiative. And Terok's a solid piece, just not in this meta.
Yeah.
Or against anyone who knows how to play against Fang fighters.
Yeah, I think that Fang Fighters have a very high skill level because when they're running on all four cylinders, Fang Fighters can absolutely do very, very good. You know, they have that free evade built in, especially when you're at range one of somebody. They do excel at 1 versus 1 engagements there. So if you can range control very well and give yourself plenty of opportunities to set up those front arc attacks, front to front, then you're going to do very, very well. And having different options around you to help facilitate that better, namely like Lima Kai with ion cannon, or being able to get ions onto people with abilities like Dace Bone Arm to help get that ion onto like medium and large base ships more reliably. You can set up your Fang fighters to go in there and really take advantage of that, right? By taking advantage of knowing exactly where that ship is going to be. They are definitely very squishy, but I think that with the availability of the Beskar armor to help negate at least one crit does give them a little bit of a boon to go there. They want to win the game fast and they want to be aggressive, but with those long extended games, that's where they tend to fail a bit. So they do have a high ceiling in terms of like being reliable for offensive potential, but sometimes you blank out. There's nothing you can do about it. So, but they're definitely a ship that more and more people are coming to realize that they are a valuable chassis, especially in Scum, that can do a lot of work.
Fangs are weird because they really depend almost more on your opponent than it does on your playing.
Yeah.
Because if your opponent knows how to play against Fang fighters, man, they don't really do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I flew Fang fighters like since they came out in 1.0. I love Fang fighters. I flew them all the time in 2.0. And every time I play against a Fang fighter, even if it's like Fen Rao, they just get torched. Like I was in Akron playing a guy who, I know flies fangs. He does it pretty well. And it's just like his Fen Rao showed up. He shot 2 shots over the course of 6 rounds and then died.
Wow.
His one shot was a range 2 modless shot, and the other one was a range 1 shot by the slightest of millimeters, not landing on a rock. So he actually got the shot off, or else he would have just blown up by being on a rock because I blocked him onto it.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's just like, I know what you're going to do with this Fang, so I'm either going to put my lower initiative ship in front of the way, and that's useless for your Fang, or I'm just going to ignore you and just take you out with like a side turret, or just put some extra damage in you in range 2, because that's range 2 and range 0 are very rough for Fangs. A little bit more so in range 2, obviously, because offense doesn't get modded at range 0, but that's still really scary. There's a lot of times that I have blown up Fangs, or at least got rid of like Beskar, just because I happened to roll a crit at range 0. Like I got like hit crit off like 3 dice, and they got 1 evade, and Concordia does not work at range 0. So they're just like, well, there goes my Beskar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the Nantex, right? If your opponent knows what to do against that ship, they are significantly less effective.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my problem with Fang fighters right now. They're popular and like they can go, like they can hit really hard. It's just sometimes it's just like they're literally not doing anything. Fen Rao's not bringing 6 points to the table.
Well, I think that's when we discuss this type of stuff, right? Like, I think one of the big things here is consistency, right? Like, we've talked about this in the past, and I think Fang fighters aren't consistent. They are if you are at range 1, but that's about it. And like, how long can you remain at range 1 and reposition and then be able to do a turnaround maneuver to stay at range 1? It's a lot harder. So you're splitting your fire.
And not good at objectives.
And they're not good at objectives at all. They could be, I guess, right? Like, I mean,
like assault's not too bad, right? Because they're staying within that area, but so is everyone else.
Yeah. And if you can range control them and get them at range 2 in that area, they're not going to have a fun day because they aren't focus evade, right? That's not what they get. They get a focus. They get it. That you get a focus, and then you get a boost or a barrel roll. So you have to be very good at arc dodging.
It's even worse as a barrel roll or boost into a focus. So if you fail either of those, you're SOL.
Yeah. And I think like if you changed Fenn's ability, you could just make him a 5-point chip and call it a day, right? Like, you just change his ability a little bit, so that he wouldn't be as big of a menace. You just make him 5 points, and then you have a 5-point Fang fighter that's like kind of like a Soontir-ish type person. So
yeah, like their play style doesn't let you disengage, which is what you want to do with your expensive ships that are kind of fragile. And their dial, I mean, like the blue 2 hards are great, but your fastest forward blue maneuver is a 3, and that's really not what you want. You want like a blue 4 straight would be very, very good for a Fang fighter.
Yeah, they're definitely not like the TIE interceptors, right? That can, get out of a danger situation, right? With that 4 straight boost.
Even the rogues
and
have 4 straight,
Yeah, and the interceptors can link into like a barrel roll if they need to, right? So that makes them even better at arc dodging. So it's tough for those Fang fighters to really disengage, and it makes them very predictable to get blocked and take those ranged zero shots.
Yeah. I think that's really what's kind of holding back a lot of Scum. I mean, we've talked about this. Like, they don't have a X-wing, right? They don't have like a 3-die small base that doesn't have to live exactly at range 1 in order to live, right? We use like the Kirax, for example. Like, Star Vipers would be a little bit too expensive to be like an X-wing, so it's like the Kiraxes, which aren't good. But like, they're a small 3-die gun. They don't have a 1 straight, so that's really bad. But that would be very useful instead of just like, here's 4 of my fangs and Bosk. This is either going to go really great or really bad.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So when we talk a little bit, we'll get into some Bliss type stuff, and I want to talk a little bit. So we have Sunny Bounder showing up at the top. I think that's an anomaly. We could kind of probably dismiss that. Yeah, I don't really think that. Yeah, I don't really think that that's like worth the discussion. Kind of say with Lando, Escape Craft, like that's a niche thing. I don't think that. I don't know. I don't think that's worth it. But as you can see, Cad Solus is a big one. Dirge, Dengar. Here you go, buddy. Arlees shows up over Lima Kai in terms of like win ratio, and I don't know if that's just because everybody takes Lima.
Yeah, it's because you take Lima first.
Like, yeah, and it brings it down, and those people taking Arlees, you still have 69 instances of that, and Arlees is still hitting over the 50 percentile and is having a 47% win rate. And then obviously you have your Joy, your Old Tarak, your Afra, and your Manaru. So kind of what I thought is like, if you come into the pilots, right? Like, so I'm going to leave it by percentile for now, because I think like we could talk about Fenn, but I just don't feel Fenn's the guy to win worlds if you're taking Scum. I don't feel that 6 points is worth the value, if I'm going to be honest with you. You could take Arlees and frickin' Lima Kai, there you go, for the exact same points as you can Dirge, you get, or as you can Fenn, you get a lot more offense, it's a lot easier to navigate, and you don't have to disengage, re-engage in the same way.
Yeah, I think the problem with Fen is that like he's fine for 6 points. It's just building the other 14 points around Fen. You don't get enough to compensate for the playstyle you have to play with Fen.
Yeah.
So which ship do we want to pick first? I mean, I think on all of the lists, Dirge is kind of like the higher point value. It feels like Dirge shows up number 3 here. Where did Dirge show up? He showed up 5 and 3. So he is the 5th most popular pilot, and he's the 3rd most productive pilot. So is that where we start? Do we just kind of start with Dirge?
I don't know. So there's actually like a semi decent, like 6 ship Scum in quotes efficiency because they're not efficient because it's Scum, but like there's a 6 ship kind of build for that includes a bunch of the 4-pointers like Dirge and CAD, both CADs I should specify, CAD with a K more so. So you have like Lima and Arliz and Bosk. There's like a core that's 8 points there, and then you build it out with 3 other 4 points, and a lot of it is like Dirge, and Fangs or like Dace, CAD. All those 4-point ships are like a solid core around that. So I think if you are going to build something for Worlds, you can look at CAD Solus over here and Dirge, and you're like, well, those are 8 points. Arlize is over there. That's another 3 points. That's a solid core. Lima's taken a lot. Bosk is taken a lot, and you get 4 other points there for whatever you want. If you want to go continue by like percentile, like Joy Rakoff is right around there for 4 points. Or if you go by popularity, you could take Cad Bane. Or Dace is very popular too. So I think that's like a solid point.
All right,
Like
so
solid starting point.
Let's pick on Dirge just for a second here, right? Or not Dirge, CAD, right? You talk about CAD. Here's some of the lists that CAD's been in, right? Like this
CAD Solus.
Yeah, CAD Solus, sorry. Right. And so the top lists are not what we talk about. But when we talk about what pilots CAD works best with, fucking Sunny, I like I don't understand that. But CAD works very well with Dirge. Dirge is almost 9%, right? So Dirge has a 9% thing. We have almost 10% with Cad Bane. Leighton, I don't disagree with Leighton. Like, I know you're not a big Leighton fan, but Leighton's not a horrible piece for its points.
Yeah, you could take it instead of like Arlize or a Y-Wing. Just having a Leighton snapshot, probably, right? That's usually what people run.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of piecing together with the efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. Leighton probably is a better objective piece, just to go and contest. Just having that ability to constantly generate evade tokens with attack and defenses makes her really hard to bring down. That paired with the 3 agility dice, she has a high potential of just surviving a lot of shots there. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like when you look at it though, like I mean, Bosk in the YV 666 shows up. That's weird to me. Maybe because it's a low point or a low squad count.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it really depends on like what the theme of your list is trying to do, and you build around it.
Yeah, I mean, and so the question is, so Alex mentions, the 6 ship list, right? So I mean, they're saying Sunny's up there. I don't know. Like, is it just because, Sunny gives you the ability to add matching results? Is that why? Like,
Possibly, but honestly, I think there's better options to replace Sunny for the points cost. Honestly,
yeah, because if you want to run a 6-ship, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can upgrade any one of these things to a Fang fighter, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think Dirge has to be. I think you have to have that Dirge in there. I don't know, like maybe not, but like to me, the Dirge really, I don't. I was
Well,
very down on Dirge before, but
what I've seen successful for Scum, and this is mainly Ben Jamin, who's been able to really been able to pioneer this particular style of 6-ship list for Scum, is using Cat Solus in the Fang Fighter with Torfun, having Arlise, having Lima Kai, having Bosk, and I forget what Dace in that list, is able to cover a lot of ground, have a lot of offense, and even though they're all low initiative, they can punish really hard. You have that potential in Torfun to have that potential really good double shot if Torfun is able to knock out somebody. But it's a lot of utility. There's a lot of things they can do to help contest objectives early. Since they're lower initiative, they're able to grab crates early. They're fast enough to go out and grab them and take them from opponents and force the opponents to try and engage them. It just really boils down to knowing what your list can do and do very, very well. And I've seen him be very, very successful in the 3-1-2 league with that particular list. So, there's still plenty of things that haven't been properly explored in Scum. It just boils down to what you're trying to accomplish with your list and having the right pilots to build around that particular theme.
I think things have been explored in Scum, and they just found out that it was just bad.
Honestly, as effective as the stuff that you see in other factions, obviously, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the potential to be great. Now, they're not going to be dominating, but they still have the potential to be very good lists.
Solid, I guess. I just they're just, it's a lot of effort for not a lot of results. That's all.
all right. Yeah. So the first question I'm going to ask, and then because I think we've determined that Scum is probably not a top runner for Worlds, right?
Yeah.
Like it can be if you know what you're doing, but I don't think it's like it's not going to be something that the average person can just pick up and say, we're going to play this, right? If you haven't been playing Scum, you're probably not going to do it. So we say a 6-ship list roughly works with either Dirge, Cad Bane, some sort of Cad Solus. You have Torfun. This is the list right here that you were talking about Jamin running. So Jamin's running this list right here. And the Cad and the Torfun are bait. I'll just tell you right now, that's bait.
Yeah.
Like, don't waste your time on those when you can kill these other shit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not the specific things you have to worry about right away. But I do, except for, I'm sorry, he's not running Dirge, he's running Dace instead of Dirge.
Yeah, he's running Dace instead of Dirge. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Because Dace gets the title. So that's kind of the difference. I think Dirge can fit into that list. I think Cad Bane can fit in that list. Yeah. But I think that's kind of like the 6-ship list is your starting point for Scum. And then if you want to tweak it to say, I'd rather have a larger offense output set and not run this style, then that's when we move into Alex's list, right? Like, Alex, you're running Manaru, Bosk, right?
Yeah, Manaru, Bosk, Afra, Cad, Lima. The larger the ship gets, the more points it's worth. It's really convenient, actually. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like recommend specifically flag that kind of list because it is very specifically built to do one thing, right? It's not a generalist kind of list. It is like it has to do this one thing. So all the loadouts are going to be a lot more weird. Like they're not going to be. They're optimized for the list. They're not optimized for just picking up and playing. Like there's a lot better. I mean, like Manaru, sure, that's probably like your best bet with Manaru. Even then, there's still a little bit of a swapping some upgrades here and there. But like Afra, that list is that Afra build is built for that list. Like that Cad Bane build is built for that list. You're going to see Afra have typically like Han and Rook, right?
Yeah.
So there's other loadouts. I mean, if you want to bring up the Afra loadout, I think is actually kind of funny. Just how, or like the pilot composition on pattern analyzer to like see, just like how effective other loadouts are. Because I believe like Crispy will run like the Child and Overtune Lando kind of stuff, and that hits pretty hard and that works pretty well. But like in like my list or something, that's not good. that's not like what you're trying to go after.
Yeah.
And I've seen there's another guy in Akron that was running like my style of Afra, and it works, but it's just kind of weird because nothing else in the list is taking advantage of the other things on there.
Yeah. So this is the Afra loadout builds that they show up in there, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the Contraband, Electronic Baffle, Han, and Rook is a pretty popular one.
It is the most popular and least well performed.
Yeah. So the Unkar Plut one is in there. Whatever, like that one is a thing. I think the 000 one is pretty popular. I think Babu Frick is kind of this.
Mine.
Yeah, is kind of the staple, right? Like Babu Frick is your staple one. The Overtune, the Child, that's everybody likes that. And if you look like the difference between the two loadouts, there's not much average pilot difference. Like it's pretty close. It's 11 to 10. It's almost 11%. So like yeah, you could say yours is built niche, right, for your playstyle, but I think it's, in fairness, like I think the Child one is easier to use. Because how many times do people like forget the Child ability and then they don't get the target locks, and it's a constant like, like it's forcing people to spend mental energy. Whereas your list just kind of says, you don't have to spend the mental energy. This is for me to spend, and like, but I'm going to do things that you're going to get angry about. So
I'm in fact showing you have literally no choice in any of your options.
Yeah.
It's the illusion of choice.
Yes. You want to take stress or give me mods? You want to do this or give me mods? I don't care. But if you take Afra, Dirge seems, or Manaru seems to show up as one of the top pieces to take. And then I think Lee Mackay is just a known. Like I think we just say Lee Mackay is a known. Like people can argue over what they should take. We all know that it's plasmas and then the RB11 or whatever. Like it's really not, it's really kind of sold like it's a 3-point plasma carrier that sometimes gets really lucky, And if you want to shoot it, you get 3 points. Merry Christmas. So I don't know. So I think that's, I don't know what else there is to talk about in Scum. And I'll be honest, we're gonna skip CIS tonight. I want to actually invest more time in CIS next week rather than just try to jam it into 10 minutes for the show. So
yeah, turns out no one knows what they're doing in Scum. There's some glimmers of hope.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction that we're gonna see at least one Scum list make it up to the cut, and
that can be you.
And that's about it. Yeah,
not
we'll
like
see,
top 8.
We'll see it make day 2. Yeah, we'll see it make it day 2, and who knows? I mean, it could go further. You never know. I mean, that's kind of what we saw last year's Depticon with Rebels, right? Everybody was really down on Rebels, and then all of a sudden, Rebels made it all the way up to the top 4. But I think that there's because the the notoriety of how bad Scum is, I think that many people haven't practiced against it per se. So I think that a really good Scum player can come in and maybe surprise a few folks and hopefully make that day too. So we'll see. We'll see how well it does during Worlds.
It's the only way I win games.
Hey,
Surprise.
yeah, man, that could be you, bro. Just saying.
Well, he's got to
actually,
commit to running Scum.
I am seriously considering doing Scum at Worlds. Legitimately, it's between that and a couple other things, but it's still. Do I want to go with pride or do I want to like win games? At least I don't have to go to the LCQ, right? So at least
you go win top faction, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'll win top faction. I'll win one game and be top in faction. It'll be great.
Yeah, man.
I'll get the bye, and then I'll have more wins than everyone else who's playing Scum.
Hey, I mean, if you win Worlds, you'd be the first Scum player to win Worlds since what? Triple aggressors, right?
No, Brobots, man. Last 1.0 tournament.
Yeah, the Brobots.
Triple. Yeah. Just 2 of them.
Oh, it's just double. Yeah, that's right. It was double. Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Control bots. One of my favorite lists.
All right. Well, I think that kind of concludes our Scum analysis. I don't know. I mean, I feel there's more to Scum, but at the same token, I don't know. I don't have the energy to put into Scum, and I don't think there's enough time to test it because I know I've seen some of those Mando guards do pretty decent, right? Like I think those can possibly be okay, but again, you're going back to that variance, and I think Scum relies heavily on a variance piece, and that's what you need to pull out of your equation is the variance, and it makes it a lot harder in Scum unless you're able to generate the token sharing or the resources that you need to keep your variance at a steady level.
Ooh, I got this. The problem with Scum is that if you look at the most popular pilots and try to combine them into a list, the list is bad. It is not like you can just pop in Boy Luke, right? It's not, I'm going to take, Snap Wexley with like HLC R68 and just throw him into a list because he's really good and that upgrade works really well on him. You can't really do that in Scum. So it is kind of, you have to think long and hard about what internals energies are in your list and how you tailor it to your play style, because it is heavily dependent on how skilled you are at engaging with the ships that you have. And it's not about really what upgrades. I mean, they matter. like don't run, Fen Rao with like some torps and expect to do really well. But it is not like a plug and play kind of faction. So there's not really like lists that we can just be like, hey, no one's really flying this. Try this, give this a shot. Like you get a little bit with the 6th ship, but it's not like you can just, it's not a plug and play kind of thing. So.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will be back next week discussing CIS and possibly another faction. I don't know, guys. What faction do we want to tackle next week?
I think we could do First Order and small enough.
All right. So our goal will be, unless something new is revealed from AMG, and if we get new pilots, I'm just telling you, we're gonna cover the new pilots. But other than that, we will be talking about CIS and FO next week. A reminder, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go over and do that. If you have not given us a review on the podcast app, whatever your favorite podcast app, please give our podcast a review. We take them all seriously, except for for some reason, Alex actually, I just noticed this has a video game in his background. I've never noticed that. We've podcast for like, I don't know, 8 months together, and I've never noticed that.
The Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition arcade unit?
Yes.
Yeah, I ripped out all of its guts. I ripped all of its guts out and replaced it with like Pi, so it's just got all like the arcade games on there.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, it sounds like I got to come over for like a Star Wars Unlimited or
it
an
doesn't
X-Wing
work,
tournament.
but
Oh, fuck you.
I'll
Okay,
fix
never.
the joysticks are all messed up. I got some cheap ass joysticks and they're inverse of what they should be, so it doesn't work.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, you should fix it, and then I'll come over and play. That sounds like fun. Like I've never, I don't know anybody that owns one of those things. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast or given us a review, please go over, give us a review, and we will be very ecstatic. With that being said, we will not be live next Sunday because it's Super Bowl Sunday. So just as a forewarning, we are going to move the cast to Monday or Tuesday. I do not want to cast during Super Bowl for obvious reasons. So we will be doing it on Monday or Tuesday next the following week. So not tomorrow, but a week after that, we will be podcasting with that. With that being said, thank you all. Have a good night, and we will see you on the flippity flop.
Have a good night.